Welcome back to my messy shop, everybody. Today we're going to be working on the roof of the trailer. And what we got to do up there is pretty simple, but maybe a little bit time consuming, we'll see. But what we're going to be doing up there is the fan. That is right, we're going to go ahead and put the fan in its place up there. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the fan is and what it comes with. Now I picked up the Max Fan Deluxe, which I thought was supposed to come with the controller, but evidently it didn't. But what it did come with is a fan with a smoked hood. You have your options on these. I went with the smoked because, well, I thought that it would just look better on my trailer. Then you've got the capture ring that the fan goes onto. This gets screwed directly to the top of the trailer. Of course, it came with a whole bunch of screws, which is nice. And then we've got the little cowl for the bottom, and it will go up to cover up any space between the fan and the roof of the trailer. Now, the first thing I need to do is I need to get a hole in the top of that roof. So I'm gonna go ahead and drill a hole from the inside of the trailer, and then we can go ahead and get the router out, get on top and route out the hole that I built into the trailer roof. Next up is test fit. And I'd say that that fits pretty darn good there. Even has a little bit of room to be adjusted a bit, right or left. But first, I need to cut that cowl to fit inside of here. And now that that is in place, I'm going to take my permanent marker and just mark all the way around the edge here. Now, like everything else on this trailer, I have to put some butyl tape around that outside little cowl piece. I'm going to go ahead and remove any of the dust and particles as I can around it here. Then I can pull the covers off of the butyl tape. And from what I've seen, those have to go to the sides of the trailer. It looks like one of the little metal pins is not on properly. All right, so if you end up having to fix that, make sure that you don't get the butyl tape stuck to the piece there. I'm just going to do that right there. Yeah, that should be good once it gets screwed down. All right, so as I was saying, the clips go to the outside. I'm just feeling around here to make sure that I think there's enough room for that cowl to go into place, which it feels like there is. I can open the screw bag. Now, I watched a few videos on this and it didn't look like any of the other places were worried about the Finaly cracking or breaking. So I'm just gonna go ahead and screw through it because, well, I'm on top of the roof right now and I forgot the drill bit. So this might be a bad idea, but I guess we'll see. All right, now the fan needs to be up. So I got to turn this. The wires here, I need to make sure that those are going through the hole that I have for it, right there. And this should slide right into there. All right, so there's two screw holes on the side of this that this little metal thing should align to. All right, so in this bottom cowl piece, there's actually a piece of rubber down in there so that when you screw these in, it's actually physically pushing into that. So it appears that I just kind of put a little pressure on it there. Try and get that started a little bit here. That comes with some screws that are painted white. Save those for the inside of the trailer. All right, so now that we got the wonderful fan up top there, it is time to cut the cowling here for the inside of the trailer. Now, I've seen people do this several ways. Myself, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and go with this guy because it's been working fairly decently over the last couple of weeks. So that didn't exactly cut as nicely as I thought that it would. It did leave some kind of melted burrs all the way around here, so I'm just going to go ahead and take those off with the razor blade. Now, there's a couple places that I wasn't exactly on my mark, so I'm just going to take that down with the razor blade, because that seems to be working fairly well. And if there's any adjustments that need to be made, I will do that with the razor blade as well. Now, because I'm impatient and I want to see how this fan works, I'm going to go ahead and hook it up to the little battery just to test this thing out and make sure that it's actually working before I, caulk all the way around everything. So I just made a boo-boo that I hope didn't wreck anything, but black is actually positive and white is negative on these. All right, so right now it's off, kind of hard to tell on the phone because it is clear blades, which is kind of interesting. So the controls on this are fan off, fan on, and the knob here to close and open it, which does have a lock on it, which you push. So that's mode 1. Two. 3. And 4 must be a super slow mode. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that ticking, but that might be kind of annoying. I know you might be wondering if this has a reverse flow to blow air down on you. No, this model does not. There are models that do. However, I can tell you that right now, just having this going, even on setting number 2, I can feel the air coming in the doorway fairly quickly. Now, mind you, this is for a much larger trailer than this little thing is. So being able to suck the air out of this and pop the windows open a little bit, it should make a huge difference no matter what the temperature is outside. So as a little demonstration for how much air that fan is sucking in up top right now, let's take this piece of plastic and put it to the window here. That's pretty decent. There. Now that is what it looks like when it is up. Let me put that down real quick. And that is how streamlined it is when it's down. Now I'm gonna go ahead and let that fan run for a little bit, just because I'm hoping that that ticking sound that you can hear on levels 1 and 2 will hopefully go away with it running on level 3 for a little bit, because what I'm thinking is that they may just be a little bit dry because it's been sitting in the garage for such a long time. I've had the thing for almost a year now, maybe even a little bit over. So I'm gonna go ahead and let it do its thing in there for a little bit. Now, just like the doors as well as the trim, I will have to go around the fan up there with some RV sealant, as well as cover up all of the screw heads. I'm not 100% done with the fan, but I'm done enough with it that I feel comfortable with moving on to our next project for the day. And so the next project that we've got to do is more holes in the trailer, because remember, there is a hole right about here and right about here. Now, yes, that is right on the edge of our little protective piece of Phylon here. Alright, so as a quick refresher of what I'm actually doing here is on the inside we have this that goes through, right? That used this blade right here to make the proper size hole. Well, the outside is a little bit bigger because this slides into there, right? So I had to get a bigger blade that fits the end of this. So because we have one hole that's bigger than the other, the best option for this was to go ahead and drill through the inside to the outside to mark our center for the larger hole. So now that I've got my reference hole, I can go ahead and put the drill bit in that, and it should be just about center on the inside hole. All right, so there we go. We got the Finaly out. Now I just need to drill a little bit deeper in there for that little lip. I just got to get in there and clean out some of this excess. So now that we're ready to put this all into place here, I've got an issue with the protective piece of Finaly not coming up all the way or not being below it. So what I think I'm going to do is, because I got to put butyl tape on this anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and put some extra butyl tape above here so that it will seal nicely. All right, and there we go. And as you see, that extra butyl tape there made up for that extra little space there. And once I put the RV sealant around here, you won't ever be able to see any of that in place. All right, so I've got them both in now, but now there's the issue of what to do with the rest of this here, because I can't just leave that open for rain and snow and everything else to get into, because that will be a weak point and could potentially eventually rub through the Finaly, but just through vibration under here. So what I have done is I actually took one of the corner pieces, because when I ordered these, they came in sets of 5. Why 5? I don't know. But I only needed 4 of them. So I took the 5th one here and I cut off this leg right here, which is the part that goes on the wall of the trailer. And what that gave me was a nice flat piece of trim. And the reason why I need it flat is because it is actually going to cover these areas right here. And I'll be able to just screw in and it will look nice and dandy like that, going over all the way across. Now, the question is, do I just butt them up against this here and call that good? Or do I use the little caps that are going to go on the outside like this and like that on these as well? I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and butt them up to each other and see how that looks. If I don't like it, I think I can always squeeze in one of the caps in there just to finish it off if that's what I decide to do. All right, so I got 25.5 marked out there now, which means that 25 should be right on the center of this right here. So I'll line that up, kind of holding it at an angle there, and plop it down. Oops, I think I might have, oops. So I did cut this so that this side is a little bit longer. So I got to make sure that that little hook is up. See, now it'll lay nice and flat up against there. All right, so I think that it looks all right. The left and the center are definitely all right. I think that the right one, I will adjust that a little bit when I put the screws in it. So after I put the screws in, I went ahead and decided to put the screw covering in that will go on all of that type of trim. So let's go ahead and take a quick look at it here. And you guys can let me know what you think about those caps. I'm so far not a very big fan of them. And I think that's because it doesn't actually go all the way back. So I'm not sure what trim that is actually for. But I'm thinking like over here, when I go around it with that caulking, I can just lift this back, caulk underneath it, and then continue going. And I think I can do that on all of these here. And I think that that should actually look fairly decent. So let's go ahead and take a step back. And that's what it looks like from the front. Now, yes, it's not perfectly straight. And if I had some help here, I would have gotten out the chalk line and did that. But I think that it looks fairly decent anyway. So now that I got the finished trim on the front there, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and finish off all the screws for the wall trims and get the rubber piece put into that as well. All right, so when you're applying this, it may seem counterintuitive as the outsides are what's facing up instead of the inside middle piece, but that's the way that it's supposed to go. And once you get it started here, it is super simple. Just lead one side in and then squeeze the other side towards you. As you go along, it'll slide right into the groove where it's supposed to go. So as you see, this leading hand is pushing it in, while the other hand is squeezing it in. And if your hand gets tired or anything, it's no problem. You can always go back and restart that section. And once you get the hang of it, it starts to go fairly quickly. All right, now how about that, huh? That looks so nice and clean without seeing any of the screw heads and stuff. It's gonna be great. That front just looks really nice, I think. And now I put that rubber all the way back to right about a foot back from the galley area of the trailer. And the reason for that is because I may end up having to mess with the trim back there a little bit once I start actually framing in and getting the galley doors and things worked on. And guys, I think I am out of time for the day. This kind of pooped me out. Getting up on top of the trailer to do the fan, I kind of messed up my back a little bit. Now, if you like this video, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so that you never miss a upload to see what's going to happen with this thing next. And of course, you can always check out this playlist up here if you haven't seen any of my other videos on this build. Until next time, as always, you all have a good one.